Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Bruce and Ellen, and we're here to talk today about rewiring your mind out of struggle. And I'd like to start with something. Now, some time ago, I was to a landmark forum, and in the forum, they had done some studies, and we had windows in our life where pivotal things could happen. One would be somewhere on the age 6 or 7. Another window was age 12 to 13, and a third window was 20 to 21. And I liken it to be like something that happened in your life at that time. It could be positive or could be negative, but as soon as you think about it, it's like a movie playing in your mind. And I think we want to talk about that today, especially if it's negative, some way to rewind that and rewire that, I should say, rewire that. So Ellen, can you take it away?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you started like that, Bruce, because it's definitely, like as you were speaking, the first thing that came to mind was I went back to the time when I was 6 years old, and I remember when my mom left us at my grandmother's house, and how my life changed. So I felt abandoned. And so the question that I have for you is, how many of you at that time can recall a major thing that happened in your life that in one way or another is still affecting you today? And that's something that sometimes I'm still working through it. You know, life is about an ongoing journey where we work with ourselves all the time. So even though that I have worked with the issues of abandonment, sometimes they come up. And so that's one thing. Another thing that happened to me that I can remember at that time was that I was sexually molested by an adult, a neighbor, and that's that also made an impact in my life as well. And in a way that as a parent, I make sure that I told my children, with boys and girls, to be very careful of adults that they don't know, or that especially those that they knew. So, those are things that stayed in my mind on that time when I was a 6 year old. And then when you talk about being a teenager, 12 and 13, at that point, my mom went back home and picked us up from my grandmother. I started living with her and getting to know her. At that time, that was so shocking too, because even though that was my mother and we had been corresponding by mail, I really didn't know her. She didn't know me, and it was a different way of living, And also between that time and 15, I moved to the United States. That was a shock for me. With different culture, different language, a lot of stuff going on. So that definitely made an impact in myself. At that point, I remember that I became a shy person. I don't remember being a shy person before that, but because that was so impactful in my life, I became a different person. I became more introvert than extrovert. And also by the time I turned 20, between the 20 and 21, I was in college, raising 2 small children. I was married with a husband, a house, a lot of stuff in my plate that I was dealing with, and at the same time trying to get an education. So I can recall those things, and whether I can say they were negative things that happened in my life or positive things that happened in my life. But what I do know today is that it's about the perception, okay, the perception that we had of those moments in our lives. As children, and then as adults, we perceive those as negative, but then as you study yourself and as you go within, as I have many times I say, is that once you recognize what had happened to you, you realize, at least for me, that those events in my life have made the person that I am today. Yet it took some time for me to work through it, because at some point they were bringing the negative side in my life, because I was just thinking of, I was playing the negativity of it. I was playing being abandoned, so I was a victim all the time. I was a victim. I was left alone. When I was someone who tried to sexually assault me, I was always on the lookout. I didn't trust anybody. Trust issues. I had trust issues. So you see, those are negative things that impacted in my life. Yet, in a positive turn of it is that it allowed me to have something to work on and become a better person, a stronger person. My character is, I have the character that I have because of the things that I have experienced in life. So what I invite you to do is to go within and go to those times in your life when you were between 6 and 7 years old. What happened in your life? How has impacted your life? And due to those situations or those life events that happen in your life, what is manifesting in your life? Are you still playing the victim? Are you still playing? What is it that is playing out? What's happening in your life, or what has happened in your life? Okay, so those are the questions that I want you to ask yourself. But very careful, go through those times in your life when you in the age of 6 and 7. 12 and 13, 20 and 21, around that ballpark of age, try to think about what happened to you and how that has affected your life. And I can promise you that some of the struggles that you're having in your life has a lot to do with those times that happen in your life. And, you know, when I was first becoming aware of this, I didn't know, just like many of you. And that becoming aware of it and realizing that it really has changed my life, has really rewired the way I think, the way I see life, the way I perceive situations, and how I solve them.